Hello and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And David, on this week's Hi-Fi Riff, what are we going to talk about?
We're going up and away with the Concorde, Mike.
Excellent. We're going back to the 70s.
We are, yeah.
That's so cool.
Well, some would say we're still there, Mike.
Well, great British achievements that we can no longer do.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? There's a few of those. You can't go to the moon anymore.
Yep.
Well, in fact, I think we're going back this year, aren't we? Is it Artemis project where we're going to go and have a little look around the moon, but we're not landing.
What is this sky at night? Is it?
Well, you said about Concorde, and I'm quite passionate about Concorde because
yeah.
I just think it's one of the coolest things which the Brits have ever done and ever produced, and it's just so disappointing that we no longer got supersonic flights.
I agree.
But I think you're alluding to something a little bit different, aren't you?
No, I was talking about the British Airways supersonic jetliner, Mike, from 1970. No.
Yes.
No, absolutely. So I'm talking about something else from the 70s. It came out in 1979, and strangely enough, it's also called Concorde, and you can see why when you look at it.
I've got it here.
And Mike's got it here.
Look at this, in a little tiny box.
Actually, yeah.
Well, cool.
So there we go.
Excellent.
So
it's a premium phono cartridge.
It is a premium phono cartridge. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
I'm just
brilliant.
There we go. So
look at this. Look at this.
Fantastic.
This is and the reason why obviously is because it looks like the nose from Concorde.
It does.
So,
yeah.
Yes. So this is a Concorde Music Blue by Ortofon, and I'm going to have to bow to your greater wisdom here because I haven't heard it yet.
Absolutely.
So however,
yep.
I am very au fait with cartridges of this ilk. Do you know why?
I've got several theories as to that.
Have you? Okay.
So I know. So let me guess.
Yes. Okay.
So you once had a dual CS505, which probably would have had an Ortofon ULM cartridge on it.
Absolutely right. That's exactly right.
Okay.
And do you know what ULM stands for?
It stands for ultra low mass, Mike.
Excellent. Do you want to hear my hi-fi joke?
Yes.
You don't really. No, you don't. You're just being so polite.
Is this the only hi-fi joke you've got?
It's the only hi-fi joke I've got.
Okay, I think you've got a few more. Actually.
Well, okay, it's the only one I've got at the moment.
It's the only publishable one that won't get us taken down.
So when I was in retail in the early 90s, we had a customer who was very nice, by the way, and this is in no way disparaging to him whatsoever, because you never know, he might be a Hi-Fi Riff fan.
Yes.
And his name was Mr. Lomas, Lomas, and his nickname for all of the staff in Reading Hi-Fi was Ultra. And whenever he booked a dem, we'd write his name down as Ultra Lomas, which is really cool. ULM. We all found that really funny.
I'm sure you did. Yes. Did you ever call him Ultra to his face?
No, I can't even remember his first name because we just called him Mr. Lomas because I'm so I probably didn't want to find out his real name was sort of Paul or something.
All right.
So there we are.
So this is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, a mic joke.
That's a mic joke. So, is this an ultra low mass cartridge?
No,
it's
and
not.
That's a really good question.
Oh, that's good. That's for a first.
Because I'm very pleased you asked me that, Mike.
Can I take it out? While you explain why, I take it out of its box?
So let's do the unboxing first, because Mike loves his unboxing.
I'm so pants at this, it's ridiculous. So, there's stuff in here. Oh, there's a manual in the back. Oh, it looks quite sweet. Oh, there we are. Look at that. Oh, cool. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, look at that. I wonder why it's called Concorde. That's brilliant, isn't it?
It doesn't look like the nose of Concorde at all, does it?
No, it looks a bit rude, to be honest.
Yeah.
There we are.
There we go.
Brilliant. It's got a little blue tip on the end.
Indeed.
I'm not going to take the cartridge.
No,
don't leave that off.
So.
Yeah, we've had previous with that.
Yep.
That's really nice, isn't it? It's got its own little detachable headshell built in.
Yep.
Brilliant. Is the stylus detachable?
Yes, it is.
It is.
Yep.
Excellent.
So
what a lovely thing. Really solid, actually.
Yeah.
It's really nicely made, isn't it?
So, guess how much it weighs, Mike?
Oh, I've got no idea.
Okay.
Not a clue.
Sure you don't want to have a go?
No, I really don't want to have a go.
Okay.
No.
All right. It's 16.5 grams.
Okay.
So,
okay.
But apropos of, you just read the instruction manual by yourself. I'll take over.
You crack on.
There we go, viewers.
I'm checking to see what it weighs.
The iconic Ortofon Concorde, as you can see. and we will be putting kind of proper close-up shot. But
it says it's 18 grams in here.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. I bet it doesn't, but you're just saying that. So
You'll never know.
well, I think I will, because I actually asked Ortofon.
They clearly don't know what they're talking
indeed.
about. It comes with a little toothbrush.
So, yeah, that's nice, isn't it?
Would you use that?
Not on my teeth, no. Anyway, I'd just like to restore some order to the show.
Problem.
So, 1979. So, interesting fact. This. So, what two hi-fi products became known for DJ use when they were really hi-fi products?
Technics turntable
And
Ortofon cartridge.
correct.
And I know why.
So, Ortofon Concorde.
Okay.
That's what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So-
you could go backwards with the vinyl,
Yeah,
couldn't you?
yeah.
And it wouldn't screw the cartridge
Yeah.
up.
I think you mean sort of scratched. don't
Yes.
you, Mike?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
But you can actually do that with other cartridges as well.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
but
Can you do it with your Lyra?
well, you can. You try it with it. You do it with your Lyra, mine,
Yes.
but I won't do it with mine. So, yeah. So, in all seriousness, folks, Technics SL 1200 Mark II came out in 1978. It was a hi-fi turntable. It was never designed to be a DJ turntable, but obviously a lot of people decided and realized, because of its durability, its sort of strength and robustness, that it was great for DJs, and so, the rest, they say, is history. The Ortofon Concorde, the original, came out in 1979 and was absolutely a kind of audiophile hi-fi cartridge, but ended up on the end of every Technics SL 1200,
Right.
Down at the disco,
Yes.
so to speak.
Yeah.
So basically, Ortofon kind of repurposed the Concorde to a kind of pro DJ kind of use, and it's continued ever since as a kind of pro DJ thing. The interesting thing is now they've kind of relaunched it as a music cartridge, as a hi-fi cartridge,
Wow.
and this is what this is, obviously.
Excellent.
And one of the reasons it was so good as a DJ cartridge is that when it's affixed to an S-shaped tone arm, a standard SME arm, it's so nice to hand cue.
Yes.
So you can basically just drop
It's
it
got
down.
like a little serrated edge, hasn't it? On the
Absolutely.
queuing bit.
So you've got a kind of wonderful visibility, as it were. You don't have this massive kind of stubby head shell getting in the way. You can see exactly where it's going in the groove. It's such a nice thing to hand cue, and obviously that's a huge benefit for DJs, but it was never originally aimed at DJs. So
what have you been using that in?
Yeah, well, so SL 1200,
Yeah.
and I've also had it in my Sony PSX 8750, and I've had it in a couple of other S-shaped tone arm turntables. So basically, this is what's called an SME fitting. It's an old school SME fitting. You remember the old SME arms?
I've got one in the loft.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when we were kids, then every turntable, almost every turntable, had an S-shaped tone arm with a detachable head shell.
Yeah. I first linned.
Yeah.
I had an LVV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lin Basic. Yep. Which was a Japanese OEM. I think I can't remember who made it now, but basically, they had a standard head shell, and the really innovative thing about the Concorde was that it combined a cartridge and a head shell together. So obviously you don't need a head shell. So by combining the cartridge and head shell together, the original Concords, I think, had a total combined cartridge and head shell weight of 6.5 grams, something like that.
Right.
Which was ultra low mass.
Sure.
wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like your customer.
Like my
from
customer.
Reading.
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, in 1979, this was an absolute game changer. Many tone arms at that time were trying to get down to very low mass. So you had a moving magnet cartridge with which was high compliance and low mass, and the idea is that those would track record grooves better at low weights. low tracking weights and basically ride warps better, and that was the idea.
Yes.
So, and actually it makes perfect sense, because just like if you've got a low unsprung mass, for example, light wheels on a car, they will track the road surface better than heavy wheels. So
interesting.
So you want to have a low unsprung mass or a high sprung mass in order to get good ride quality on a car suspension. And the same principle was kind of used with cartridges. And there was a real kind of in the 70s, a real kind of fad for very low tracking weights, wasn't there?
There was, yes.
So we had like the Shaw V15 Mark IV. They reckoned could go down as low as 0.75 of a gram in tracking weight, and that was because it was a very low mass cartridge, very high compliance, and when fitted to a low mass tone arm with a low effective mass like an SME Series 3, it would basically track very well and ride the...
I remember when the Arrow came out, the Lin Arrow tone arm, and it had to be tracked at something like 2.2 grams.
Yes.
And everyone was sort of up in arms, and but that was just sort of the nature of that strange uni-pivot tone arm, wasn't it? And I've got I've still got my Nagoka moving permalloy cartridge, which we did a review on it, and I tracked that at about 2 grams.
Yep.
So interesting stuff. Works well, actually.
Yeah,
works really well. It's nice to see one of these. I haven't seen this shaped Ortofon cartridges in absolutely ages and ages, to be fair. So I've got to ask you the question: how does it sound?
Rubbish. So
who cares? It looks great.
No, it's a very good idea. It sounds awful. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So let me continue with my short lecture.
Do carry on.
If you'd like to go and
put the kettle on.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, you can. What are you getting now? Oh, you're getting my Geddy Lee book.
Yes.
Oh, that's kind of you. Shall I read this?
You just read your Geddy Lee book.
I'll read my Geddy Lee book. Okay.
So,
yes, excellent. Shall we do a bit of chapter from it? So, yeah. Okay.
There we go.
Right, brilliant.
So, okay. Well, while Mike is reading, what chapter are you on?
I want to have a look. I haven't started yet. I want to have a look at the different ones you can get. I've got a list here.
All right. Well, you read that. So, I've forgotten where I was now.
I said, what does it sound like?
Okay. All right. So before we answer Mike's question, so the Concorde, the original Ortofon Concorde, was a very innovative moving magnet. Ultra low mass, as Mike says, not talking about your customer. Very low mass, high compliance, pretty high compliance cartridge, and since then, the Ortofon Concorde has been evolved through kind of a DJ kind of specific application. Now back to the Concorde Music, which is where we are now, and the Concorde Music has a whole variety of different styli.
Yes.
So you can, I think the entry level one is the Concorde Music Red. This is the blue, which is
elliptical.
Yeah, this is nude elliptical.
There we are.
The red, the basic red is roughly half the price and is just a basic elliptical.
Okay.
And also there's a very good one, which is the bronze, which has a nude fine line, which is around 350 quid. And my favourite, even though I haven't heard it, I've heard the kind of I've heard the 2M equivalent. I imagine my favourite would be the black 250 LVB, which is the sort of, I think it's about 850 quid, and has a nude Shibata stylus and a boron cantilever.
Okay.
So most of them have aluminium cantilevers, and as regular riff viewers know, we aluminium cantilevers but we love the boron cantilevers. So you basically, the great thing about this is you can buy the entry level Concorde Music Red for 100 quid or so roughly, and upgrade it right the way up to the very best one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how much does it cost just for a basic one or the entry level stuff?
So the entry level one is the red, and that's roughly, I think it's just over 100.
Okay. And our blue one here,
220.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's really good because you've got, it covers every budget, and you can almost, if it was me, I would personally start off with the blue, thank you, and I would go, because you get a very, so all of the Concorde cartridges have a typically Ortofon kind of clean, snappy, smooth sound, they I think they're not quite as subtle and sort of intricately resolved, for example, as the Nagokas, but still the Concorde musics do have very high output for considering they're moving magnet. So that's 6 millivolts instead of your kind of average output for a moving magnet, which is 4 millivolts. So they are quite punchy. You get a very low noise into any normal moving magnet phono stage. So they're kind of punchy and fun and kind of crisp. Basically, the further you get up the range, the more detail you get, the more polish you get, the more insight you get.
Excellent.
And so I think it's a great concept. And the joy, of course, is that if you have a standard SME S-shaped arm with an SME headshell attachment, you don't have to mess around with aligning it.
No, sure.
So,
and also easy to compare cartridges as well.
Yeah.
This is always a real bugbear, because, if you wanted to, if you say, for example, you're trying to sell a cartridge, then, the last thing you want to do is unbolt it and rewire a new one in and realign it and bolt a new one in. Because by that time, you've forgotten what the first one sounded like. So actually, it's quite tricky. So I think all of the cartridges I've ever bought have always been on, firstly, reviews, with people saying this is a really good cartridge, and then actually just listening to it, but never really comparing it to anything. And as a result, I think I probably ended up with just some fairly sort of bog standard cartridges over the years. A few Lin cartridges here and there, and a couple of Audio Technicas, but never really gone too far, off the beaten track, as it were. But it's nice to know that you can just plug in different stylists in and immediately see what it's, whether it's worth the extra few $100.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact that it's not. Firstly, if you've got obviously the right tone arm with a correct geometry, you've no longer got alignment issues because it's going to be correctly aligned.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a plug-and-play cartridge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And secondly, you can just, for example, have buy a red, keep the stylus for parties and general use. Maybe you've got serious listening, you can get a really nice, nice cartridge, really nice stylus,
and
then when your mates come round, downwind of a few pints, you put the old red stylus back in, so it doesn't ruin your world when they drop it.
No, sure,
and scratch your Genesis album.
Yeah, absolutely. Who wants to do that?
Yes.
Well, this has been really good.
Or in your case, the Rick Astley album.
My Rick Astley album, absolutely. This has been like a sort of David Price show and tell.
Yes, it has.
It's been really quite funky.
Really. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, look, thank you for that. Thank you for bringing in your show and tell for today.
Yeah.
There's your box. You can put
Thank you very much.
Now. There we are. Lovely. Thank you.
You can unbox, but you can't rebox.
I can't rebox now. Not a clue how that went back together. Excellent. Yeah. Cool. Great stuff. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. So
he said, trying to wind it up.
So no, I would just say that you don't want to hear my.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It was funny.
I would just say that if you like that kind of Ortofon sound, which is like a crisp, clean, it's quite sort of Scandinavian, isn't it? It's not sort of super, sort of tonally rich and sort of overblown in the bass or anything. It's all very kind of lean and mean and fast and punchy and clean. It's a really interesting product, and
Excellent.
I'm really glad that the Ortofon Concorde has been, the kind of natural balance of the world has been restored.
Excellent.
And it's now a specialist hi-fi cartridge once again.
There we are. And on that note, thank you for bringing that in. That's brilliant.
You're welcome.
And normal service will be resumed next week when we'll review something which I've actually listened to.
Yeah.
So brilliant. But in the meantime, thanks very much indeed for watching this episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. Bye.
Bye.